There really is something different about the Cleveland Browns. I know the quarterback situation has been and continues to be the storyline, but if we throw the quarterback position to the side, this is just an intriguing team with a ton of all-around depth. Obviously, 2024 was just atrocious from start to finish, and it all started from week 1 with Deshaun Watson. But this year is a fresh slate, a new start, and seriously, I think this team is talented enough to win 11 games, or they also could be so bad to where they win 3 games again. The range of outcome is very wide, so I want to break down everything you need to know about this team before we head into the start of the 2026 season. From the news, the storylines, the depth chart, I'm going to be covering it all today, so this should be a fun one. But before I begin, real quick, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, and your support truly means the world. Alright, so I'm going to do things a little bit differently because I know every Browns video just focuses on the quarterback battle. I'm going to actually focus less on the position because we all know what's going on. I want to talk about a different offensive position that was another huge storyline this offseason, and that is running back. And sadly, the big thing that happened was Nick Chubb was not offered the chance to come back, so he had to sign with the Houston Texans. But the Browns really changed directions in the draft when they selected Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State and then Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee. Both of these guys bring different and interesting skill sets to the team. Of course, Judkins gave a terrible first impression with his arrest in Florida. I hate seeing young guys do stupid stuff, but nonetheless, with a backfield of Jerome Ford, Sampson, and Judkins, I think the Browns are just fine, even if someone goes down or if any legal trouble gets in the way of things. Dylan Sampson has proven he can carry the load from what he did in his breakout season at Tennessee, but Ford is the one with NFL experience, and he showed flashes last year. He had a few big runs. Obviously, it was nothing like prime Chubb, but he was not bad by any means. Last season in 104 carries, he had 565 yards and 3 touchdowns, but again, between the 3 guys and the offensive line the Browns have that is getting back to being healthy, I think the run game is in a solid place, which is going to be much needed with the unknownness of the quarterback position, and I'm hoping that Kevin Stefanski utilizes the run more in key situations because we all know he falls in love with his passing schemes too much at times. Speaking of the offensive line though, let's talk about what the depth chart looks like. At left tackle right now it's DeJuan Jones, which is scary, but it's something that I'm optimistic about. I think if he sheds a bit of weight, he'll become more agile, which will help him so much because last year that was one of the few things that held him back. And then at left guard, the Browns will have the vet, the legend himself, Joel Bitonio. He's one of those Browns for life guys that I would love to see win something for once. But when he's healthy, he's one of the most valuable pieces on this team, even still to this day. And then Ethan Posich is huge at center coming off his injury. It's good to have him back because when he was on the field, he was making some big strides. Again, this year it could be tough being a center because of how many different QBs could potentially end up being behind center throughout the season, but I think he is cut out for the challenge. And then Wyatt Teller will be at right guard. The dude is just an animal. There's not much more to be said there. He is arguably the best player at his position in the league. And then right tackle will be Jack Conklin. I pray to God that he finds a way to stay healthy for more than 5 games, but at this point, I don't really have that confidence. He's a great lineman, but if he can't stay on the field with his age, he's not useful at all. But that's why the Browns finally have some depth behind the starters. Zach Zinter from Michigan could be a big piece. He of course missed last year with an injury, and the Browns knew that when they drafted him. That is just how much they believed in his skill set and what he can be as a player. I'm sure we will see him on the field at some point in 2026. And then there is Tevin Jenkins, Luke Weipler, and a few others that I'm sure a lot of you are unfamiliar with, and honestly so am I, I'll admit that. But overall, if this O-line can stay healthy, I think they can get back to being one of the top-ranked units in the league, and that's really how it is for every team in the NFL. The top-ranked lines are usually just the ones that stay the healthiest because cohesion is the biggest thing to a successful line. But anyways, moving on, now we gotta talk about the wide receiver room because it's a unit that I kind of don't know what to expect from. Obviously, Jerry Jeudy is the #1 guy now. He broke out in 2025 with over 1,200 yards and 4 touchdowns, which was even more impressive considering the QB situation and how bad Watson was at the beginning of the season. I think Flacco and Jeudy could be a good connection, very similar to Cooper and Flacco 2 years ago, but behind Jeudy, it's a little suspect. It's Cedric Tillman and Deontay Johnson. That's definitely a below average 2 and 3. Maybe David Bell could see some playing time, but the thing that makes me more confident and feeling a little better is the tight end room because David Njoku is becoming one of the best tight ends in the league, super underrated guy, and Andrew Berry drafted Harold Fannin Jr. for a reason. season. The dude was overlooked because he went to Bowling Green, which is not a big Power 5 school. They are lower tier, but his numbers were phenomenal. He has so much potential, such a high ceiling. And as I've said multiple times in previous videos, some of his best games came against the best teams like Penn State. So I think Njoku and Fannin will be used a lot, and they're going to have to provide a lot of production to make up for how thin the receiver room is. And we all know how much Stefanski loves to use his tight ends in a lot of his play action schemes, and he will be back to calling the plays in 2026. Now, in terms of the quarterback situation, because at the end of the day, it is the most important position in football, and it's been the curse of the Browns over the last 2 decades. Here's the thing. I really want the rookies to get a fair chance. I completely understand not rushing anything and initially putting Flacco out there week 1. That's how it should be. But I want the rookies to get their shot. Putting Kenny Pickett out there would be a complete waste because there is no reason to put a guy with no ceiling out there who could potentially lead the Browns to a 7-10 season. And that is worst case scenario because I'd rather see the Browns fail with a rookie and go 2-15 and just land flat on their face, because then they will have a higher pick and something to show for it, with Arch Manning looming potentially in next year's draft. But that is just my 2 cents. I'm curious to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Now to switch gears to take a look at what this defense is kind of looking like. I think it was a big shock a few months ago when Myles Garrett went from never wanting to be in Cleveland again to signing a long-term extension, but money talks, the NFL is a business, and the Browns blew him away with their offer. I had mixed feelings at the time when it happened, but it made sense why the front office felt that they could not lose him under any circumstance. The fan base was literally about to flip out, but in like a 3-week span, the Browns nearly went from losing the D-line to having Garrett and then trading the Hunter pick and getting an extra first and moving down to then draft Mason Graham, who is a beast from Michigan. And if he gets his weight under control, which I'm sure he will, he could help create one of the nastiest duos up front in the league. The secondary is also really good. Obviously last year was a bit of a struggle, but I think a lot of that stemmed from how many bad situations the offense set them up in. It's hard to play good defense when you're on the field for 3/4 of every single game, but we all know what Jim Schwartz is capable of. He turned this defense into a top 3 unit back in 2023, so the Browns are going to be looking to repeat that, and there is no better player to build your secondary around than Denzel Ward. Jamar Chase recently stated that Ward is the toughest corner to go against in the league, but he is not the only guy. There's Grant Delpit, Greg Newsome, Martin Emerson, so many guys back there looking to have a bounce back year, and I think they can if they stay healthy. Obviously losing JOK long term really sucks, but that is why the Browns selected Carson Schlesinger from UCLA. He kind of shocked the rookie market when he signed a fully guaranteed deal as a 2nd round pick, but that's how much the Browns believe in him from the jump. I think he's going to be a really solid replacement. But yeah, that is where the Browns are at right now. I think it's an exciting time because there is so much unknown. Literally anything can happen, but I'm curious to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Will the Browns rebound and find a way back into playoff contention, or will they suck and just remain the same old Browns? Obviously, the Watson move is holding this franchise back big time. It was a huge swing and a miss, as the Haslams admitted, and it just hurts so bad as a fan, but the only path is forward, and we have to move on. That's really all I got for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point. And if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly means the world. And let me know what you would like to see next. And until then, I will see you all later.